The Cowboys are on the verge of something shocking. As with the 2025 offseason about to be put to bed, the Cowboys, who have been active in free agency and they took advantage of the trade market, well, now they have been labeled as one of the NFL's most overlooked teams heading into the 2025 NFL season. Welcome here to Cowboys Digest. I am Jace Andrews. I appreciate you joining us. PFF released 5 different teams that are labeled as overlooked going into this upcoming season. The Cowboys were labeled as one of those 5. We tell you what they said in the article, and of course, why this season may be even better than Cowboys fans are expecting. Before that, though, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you're looking for daily content on America's team. We cover every news, rumor, update you could think of for the Dallas Cowboys, so make us your one-stop shop for Cowboys news and updates. Let's talk about it. The headline here today: the Cowboys can be a major 2025 surprise as one of the NFL's most overlooked teams. Now, there is a couple of different reasons as to why I believe right now the Cowboys are being overlooked heading into this upcoming season. The first one being last season was not good. A restructurement of getting a new coach this year, and there was a lot of very active moves by Jerry Jones to try and make this team better going into this upcoming season. The trade for George Pickens, the obvious signings they made, and the draft they've had, they're trying to make this team better. But last season, it just wasn't that way. Dak did not play in the way we expect him to. Micah Parsons' injury kind of rattled the entire defense. We don't have to talk about Mike McCarthy's coaching. It just wasn't a good season all around. But the moves being made this offseason make me believe that the Cowboys are going to be better than expected. And so let's take a look at some of those moves. Kenneth Murray, a linebacker from the Titans. Now the Cowboys have him. Miles Sanders, been talking about the running back room a lot. We have another topic about the running back room coming out on a video tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. He came from the Panthers. He's in the Cowboys. Elam, the quarterback from the Bills, he's in the Cowboys. Dante Fowler Jr., the edge rusher. Peyton Turner, the edge rusher from the Saints. And then, of course, some big names here in Javonte Williams, Robert Jones, and the biggest of them all, George Pickens. Obviously, Pickens is the move that kind of really struck chords of all Cowboys fans saying, okay, this is a season where it feels like Jerry Jones cares and where it feels like the Dallas Cowboys are going all in. The last thing they really need to do to make this offseason perfect is getting a new deal done for Micah Parsons. Right now, that's at a standstill. It looks like a deal is going to be done. It's just a matter of when, more or less, than how, I think is the bigger question there. And so that's where we go into this PFF article where they talk about all the things that happened last year as to why this year it's going to be better. And we start off with Dak Prescott. Dalton Wasserman of PFF had the report saying, quote, "First and foremost, the return of a healthy Prescott should result in offensive success. Prescott's 86.9 PFF passer grade rating in 2023 was the best of his career and the third best in the NFL that season," end quote. Now, obviously, for Dak Prescott, last year was not the way that was looked at. Obviously, it was a little bit of a downfall going into 2024. 90 in 2023 of offensive PFF rating to then 67, which was the lowest offensive rating of his career. And his pass, his run, his fumble, every rating was basically lowest or second lowest of his entire career in terms of PFF rankings. The film tells you all you need to know. Dak Prescott is better than what he showed last year. And that is a huge thing for Cowboys fans. It's a huge thing when you look at this team and know that he got an extra wide receiver now in George Pickens. CeeDee Lamb is still there and better than ever. And the hope is the running back room, if they don't find somebody to go trade for, they can really handle it with the guys they had. Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders, drafting Jaden Blue. Obviously, there's a couple other guys in there that could end up being bigger projects than maybe we see right now. But the running back by committee could work out for the Dallas Cowboys and could make a little bit of pressure come off of Dak Prescott. Now, Rico Dowdle last year had a great season, not going to lie. But I think some ways it's going to be a little easier for Dak Prescott with the extra wide receivers that he was given this season, rather than having to kind of solely rely on CeeDee Lamb, and that's exactly where we go into with the rest of this report. Again, Dalton Wasserman saying, quote, "The primary issue for the Cowboys passing game is that there wasn't a legitimate complementary receiving threat to CeeDee Lamb. They may have solved that problem recently by acquiring former Steelers wide receiver George Pickens." Now, George Pickens last year had an interesting season because the numbers don't exactly pop off the board to you. 894 yards, 103 targets in 14 games, and only 3 touchdowns. but his stats, I think, are a little bit maybe not as kind of like Dak Prescott. He's better than what this is showing because if you look at George Pickens over his career, he has the ability to be a long ball guy. That's what the Cowboys have kind of developed their offense into being, especially with CeeDee Lamb kind of being able to go long, being able to go on the under routes. There's a couple of different ways they can interpret this offense. And so George Pickens fits that long, deep pass rating. And we see it right here. Quote, Pickens was one of 5 qualified receivers who posted a perfect 99.9 deep PFF receiving grade last season. That makes him a perfect pairing with Lamb's ability to create explosive plays underneath, end quote. So if you look at the Cowboys offense now, just compared to last year, CeeDee Lamb, who can go deep, but he has been majority underneath, get the ball, use his agility and his footwork to get extra yards after that. Well, now you're going to have George Pickens to worry about on the right side or left side, on the outside, and you're going to have on the other outside CeeDee Lamb. So it's going to create for a different type of defensive structure for the Cowboys opponents rather than last year where it was, okay, if we stop CeeDee, we don't really have any other receiver that we're really truly worried about. This year, little different. If you worry too much about CeeDee, George Pickens is going to be 50 yards downfield and Dak Prescott can hit him for an easy touchdown. Now, that is going to have to play into the way this offense is molded, but it looks to be a way better passing and receiving team than it was last year, even by just getting the one guy in George Pickens. Now, obviously, there's a couple other things that went positively for the Dallas Cowboys in certain aspects, but the defense last year really struggled, and it was a lot because of injuries. Back to the report here saying, quote, Dallas's defense, particularly its pass defense, is also still a credible threat to opposing offenses. Despite injuries across their front seven, the Cowboys ranked 4th in the NFL in PFF pass rush grade last season. After Parsons returned from injury in Week 10, there were one of just 3 teams alongside the Eagles and Steelers to post at least an 80 PFF pass rush grade, end quote. So that tells me all I need to know. As long as the Cowboys' front line is healthy, the defensive line is going to work out just fine. It's going to be something the Cowboys can rely on their defensive front. Now, the good thing about this, you also made a draft pick to help out this. You drafted in the second round Donovan Ezekura, and of course he is going to be a big potential part of this team. And this entire draft class could actually really prove to be a good one. I have differentiating opinions on their first round pick of Tyler Booker. Obviously the offensive line was bolstered. He's not a bad offensive lineman. I think there was better needs to be had in the round 1 pick at that round 1 slot. But otherwise, Trevon Revel Jr. could have actually a pretty good part. He was a round 1 rated cornerback, but because of some injuries, fell to round 3. We all know about Jaden Blue. He could easily come in and become a starting running back for the Cowboys. There's a lot of positives in this draft room, and that's kind of where we go into our another report here from the Cowboy, from this report, where it's saying, quote, a season full of health for Parsons and the addition of second-round rookie Donovan Ezekuraku. I gotta be honest, I'm butchering that name. I'll get better soon enough. But he should provide a boost to the pass rush. So that is going to be crazy. So that is a huge thing right there, and obviously it's going to be a fantastic thing for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, here is another thing that we could also look at. The cornerbacks, Deron Bland and Trevon Diggs, could also bounce back from mediocre seasons, and if they do so, Dallas could rank higher than 19th in the PFF coverage grade where the team placed last season, end quote. So this coverage is also going to be better. I mentioned Trevon Revel Jr. It's going to be an interesting one for pretty much all of the Cowboys, and kind of to round out this report, we go to this from Dalton Wasserman of PFF. There are rightfully concerns about the Cowboys' ability to run and stop the run, but if their star players are healthy and playing at their typical level, they will contend for a postseason berth, end quote. That's huge. The Cowboys are in a window now where they can go out and they can win. They can go out and be a team that will be feared in the NFL. The hope is that it will work out this way. Obviously, we still have to wait for them to get on the field. We have to wait for them to go out and be a competitive team. I need to see improvements from Dak Prescott. I need to see that George Pickens is able to go out and perform to the level the Cowboys want him to. So it's going to be an interesting thing, but for right now, we kind of just have to sit here and wait and see what happens with the Cowboys. And if they make any other moves before the offseason ends, the move that I want, though, is to go out there and sign a running back. That's all I could use. All right, well, that's what we have for you today here on Cowboys Digest. I appreciate you joining us. And hey, if you made it to the end of the video, well, guess what? I really do appreciate it. And hit that subscribe button because you obviously love the content. We will see you next time here on Cowboys Digest. Peace out.